In a world that's being shaped by algorithms more and more every single day, understanding the language of AI ethics, well, it isn't just for the tech insiders anymore. It's for every single one of us. So today, we're going to decode some key terms that will really empower you to join one of the most important conversations of our time. Let's dive in. All right, so just a quick heads up. This is the second part of our three-part explainer series. It's all based on a fantastic glossary from Virtualization Options LLC. If you caught part one, awesome. We're about to build on those ideas. If you're just jumping in, no worries. You'll be able to follow along just fine as we go even deeper. And look, these aren't just thought experiments anymore, right? AI is making huge, high-stakes decisions that affect our money, our health, our opportunities. And if we want to be able to question these systems and hold them accountable, we first need to be able to speak their language. Okay, so let's start by laying the groundwork. Before we can even talk about fixing or improving AI, we've got to agree on the core principles that should be guiding it in the first place. First step is accountability, and this one is a big deal. To put it simply, it just means that when an AI system messes up, and believe me, they do, we know who is responsible. It's about getting rid of that whole "the computer says no" excuse and actually assigning clear ownership. So what does accountability actually look like in the real world? Well, it's not some vague idea. It means someone has clear ownership of the system. It means there's detailed documentation so we can all understand how it works. It means there are systems actively monitoring its performance. And, maybe most importantly, there are real consequences when things go wrong. And this example makes it super clear. Let's say a bank's AI is found to be biased and is unfairly denying loans. True accountability isn't just the bank saying, "Oops, sorry." It means a specific team is on the hook to investigate the problem, fix the algorithm, and, this is key, make things right for the people who were wrongly affected. Okay, next up we have adaptive governance. Now, the challenge here is that AI technology is just moving at lightning speed. I mean, a set of rules you write today could be totally useless in 6 months. So our whole approach to governing AI just can't be set in stone. It has to evolve. I absolutely love this analogy. Think about it. A monument, you build it once and you just leave it there. But a garden? A garden needs constant attention. You're weeding, you're watering, you're adapting to the seasons. That is exactly how we need to think about managing the rules for AI. So, we've covered the big ideas, the why. But now let's get into the how. How do developers and organizations actually put these principles into practice? This next section is all about the tools of the trade. One of the most powerful tools we have for this is something called a model card. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a nutrition label for an AI model. It's a simple, standardized way to see exactly what's inside. And on this label, you find all the important stuff. What is this AI actually supposed to be used for? How well does it really work? And, super importantly, what are its known weaknesses and where might we run into ethical problems? This gives everyone, from developers to end users, the power to make much smarter decisions. Another key idea is something called model drift. Just follow the life cycle here. An AI gets trained on some data, it gets deployed, and at first, it works great. But then, the world changes, people's behaviors change, new trends pop up, and suddenly the model's predictions aren't so good anymore. Its performance degrades. That's why that last step, remediation, is so critical. These systems need constant monitoring and retraining to stay accurate and fair. All right, this next section is critical. We're going to dig into some of the most commonly confused terms in AI ethics. I promise, if you can get these distinctions straight, your understanding of this entire field will get so much sharper. First up, transparency versus explainability. People mix these up all the time. Transparency answers the big question, what is this system? It's about being open about the data, the purpose, the big picture. Explainability, on the other hand, is way more specific. It answers, why did it make this one decision for this person? A company could be transparent about using an AI for hiring, but completely unable to explain why it rejected you specifically. Ideally, you need both. Next up, safety versus security. This is such a simple but vital distinction. Safety is all about protecting people from the AI system. Preventing accidental harm like a self-driving car not hitting a pedestrian. Security is about protecting the AI system from people, preventing malicious attacks like a hacker trying to trick that same car's sensors. And finally, let's clear up ethical AI versus responsible AI.
The easiest way to think about it is that ethical AI is the philosophy. It's the why. It asks those big moral questions about fairness and society. Responsible AI is the practice. It's the how. It's all about the actual implementation, the compliance, the accountability. You need that ethical compass to point you in the right direction, and you need the responsible roadmap to actually get there.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. This whole conversation isn't just for tech gurus and academics. Understanding this vocabulary gives you a seat at the table. It empowers you to actually take part in shaping how this technology is going to impact all of our lives. And here are some real, concrete things you can do. Start using these terms. Start conversations. The next time you interact with an AI system, ask tougher, more informed questions about its accountability and fairness. Push for these principles in your workplace or your community. And, of course, keep learning, because this field is not standing still, and neither can we.
So I want to leave you with one final, really big question to chew on. As these systems get more and more powerful and woven into the very fabric of our society, who gets to decide what human values we build into them? That decision can't be left to a handful of people in a lab. It has to be a conversation that we all have, together. Thanks for joining this explainer.